And we are live. What's good, people? It's your man DL Saint. Yo, what's good? What's good? What is today? It's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. First day of school here in Central Florida. Got to drop off my beautiful daughter. I was so happy. The summer is over. Actually had to take her in late because we had to go get some paperwork from her doctor to get her in there, shot records and all that stuff. Parents, y'all know what I'm talking about. And with juggling the two homes during the summer, you know, you got to do what you got to do. So trust me, she was not upset at all that she was late to school today. In fact, she was trying to drag her feet and draw it out as long as she possibly could. Like, no, you got to go to school, baby. So shout out to all the youngins out there and all the parents who took their kids to school. You know, it's funny, and this isn't, you know, this is just off topic just a little bit, but it's scary, man. It's scary dropping your kids off at school these days, man. It's kind of like dropping them off in a battle zone sometimes, man, because you just don't know. Things are so crazy right now. But we'll save that for another episode. You know what I mean? The wild, wild west that is, you know, America and our social, our society, I should say. You know what I mean? So what's good, man? Roz is in the house. What's good? Came over from Melanie King's show. What's good, brother? What's good? What's good? You know what? Let me, because I know you said you wanted to jump on. Let me do this real quick, man. Let me send myself a link. And I probably will drop a link during this episode, man. If you want to jump in and talk, we can save it towards the end of the show if you want, man, because I know you had some questions about the terms of what's going on. Yeah, man, the dating landscape has changed, you know what I mean? And actually, this would be a good show to have you on, brother, because we're older, you know what I mean? I'll be 52 this year. I know you're a little bit older. I'm guessing you might be a little younger than me. I could be wrong. I mean, you've really taken care of yourself, brother. You know what I mean? You're looking good. Pause. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to take you on a date. We will not be holding hands in the shower or nothing like that. But game peeps game. You know what I mean? You're a handsome brother. Handsome enough to get Melanie spinning around in her chair, bro. Like I said, that was amazing. I actually did a reaction to that video, man. 52 with the same age. That's what I'm talking about, bro. You know what I'm saying? The same age. So I think it'll be good to talk to you, bro. I'm gonna get through this, and then towards the end of the show, probably go about an hour here. Right towards the end, man, I would love to pull you up. I'm gonna send you the link to your Instagram, bro. You can just kind of jump on towards the end of the show, and I'm gonna send you the link now. But jump on towards the end, and bro, I'm here to tell you, the game has certainly changed over our lifetime, and especially like the last 15 years or so. You know, when Instagram hit, like social media and all that really changed the game, bro. So yeah, I'll definitely give you all the terms and all that kind of stuff as we go. So yeah, bro. So welcome. Thanks for coming through, and for everyone watching, man. You know, Roz is gonna be popping in periodically, man, jumping in there and gracing us with his wisdom and his stories and stuff like that, man. So, you know, I'm looking forward to that, man. It's going to be good collabing with this brother. You know what I'm saying? Two OGs talking about how it used to be. So yeah, you guys can see from the title what I'm going to be talking about, man. The thought culture that's going on out here, man, and who's responsible and what's going on, you know, this new age that we're living in, this transition into what we're dealing with in our society, in the Western world, like first world countries mostly. I was on Melanie King last night, man. Shout out to her. You know, go out, definitely go support her platform, man. She's doing big things over there. She's an amazing person, amazing woman, beautiful woman. And the way she thinks, she has old school ways of thinking. Definitely go over there and check her out. Now, I was over there last night, and we were talking about she had people on there talking about the passport boys, the guys, the young men who are traveling. They're getting their passports and they're going out, and they're leaving America, going to other countries, searching for feminine women. Let's just keep it 100. That's what they're looking for. So they're out there, they're doing their thing, and they're encouraging other men to join them. Like, yo, man, you know, they're like, man, forget American women. get your passport and go to Brazil, go to Colombia, go to the DR, go to Philippines, Thailand, you name it. They're like, go there. And that was the topic. So I was kind of sitting back. I was watching that and I jumped in. Mel and I got to going, we were talking a little bit. And the conversation turned to accountability slant responsibility. So, and there's something that I wanted to show you a bit of that conversation. And I'll load it up right now. Here it is. And this is something that I think is really important. This is something that is starting to come up, not only on YouTube, but it's coming up in mainstream media. I have an article lined up, and I have something else from TikTok, I believe. Someone sent me something from TikTok. This is starting to become a recurring thing. People are trying to figure this out. People are trying to assess blame, perhaps. People are trying to, what came first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing. People are like this because those people are like that, and vice versa. So this conversation we were talking about, Melanie and I, we were like 98% in agreement until she made this one point, and I just couldn't rock with her. And I was telling her, I don't know about that. So let's give it a listen. And then when you look at the game really changing, Instagram rocked the world, rocked the universe, because now Andrew Tate is sitting in Romania flying out chicks who live in Omaha, flying out chicks who are, coming out of the Dakotas. Whereas back in the day, you were stuck to your region. And I remember as a young teenager, Mel, you could probably relate to this. I would go to the South. I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio. I would go down to Atlanta, back when Atlanta was like the Mecca. Sisters were sisters back then. Cooked, clean, looked good, took care of their men, dealt with life, right? Now, not so much. Not so much. So what's the outcome, Mel? What do you think is going to happen over the next 10, 15 years? And before she gets into her answer, I just wanted to harp on a couple points. Like I was telling Mel, because of where we are with the internet, because of social media, the game is global, people. And I'm talking to everybody. I'm not just talking to men and women. The game is global. Global. I was talking about, back in the day being limited to your region. And what I meant by that, if you lived in Cincinnati, Ohio, for instance, that's where I grew up, right? You had your neighborhood, right? That's pretty much where you start. Go start in your neighborhood, then the adjacent neighborhoods, your city, and then you could branch out a little bit more, maybe get to the next town. Like for us would be Dayton or Middletown or something like that, or go across the river, go to Newport. Like now you're in Kentucky, Newport, Covington, stuff like that, Florence, right? And then you kind of branch out into your region's tri-state region. And that was pretty much as big as it got for most people when it came to Dayton, because everything was restricted. So, if you could be Mr. Big in your neighborhood, then start to make a name for yourself in your city. You know what I mean? By the time you got to the tri-state area, that you graduated to that region, now you're messing around in Kentucky, Indiana and Ohio. That was pretty much it. You would find a mate by that point. And for women were the same thing. Women were, confined by the same restrictions. So they were all part of the same game. So the women, again, some people maybe had a little more money or a little less money, but for the most part, once you got to that regional kind of thing, the tri-state region or whatever, you would normally find what you're looking for, right? Because again, you go from middle school to high school to college. Most people go away from college, and that gives them that broader picture, right? When mate selecting, right? You mess around, you do whatever, quiet as kept. No one in your city knows what you're doing at your college. No one at your college knows what you're doing in your city. Right. No one in these other cities know what's going on. Right. Everything is kind of separate. You're kind of moving in these bubbles, and you are who you are. That's cool. But then eventually, you know what? This is the man I want, or this is the woman I want. Y'all start a relationship. You merge. You know what I mean? Okay, you get married. And all that happens probably before you 26. You know what I mean? Or maybe a little later in certain other cultures. But you kind of find who it is that you want. And if you didn't go to college, you know what I mean? Let's say you peaked out in high school, right? You were doing your thing. You was hooping, playing football, baseball, whatever it is you were doing. You know what I mean? You were a letterman. You one of the big guys on campus and all that. You a cool kid. You hanging out. You doing whatever, right? Or you on the streets, you cranking, you getting that bread up, whatever. Okay. But eventually you'll find someone which will be in your city because you know that's pretty much where you hunt. That's where you at. And you'll find somebody and boom. You go off, you start a family. Your woman is happy because she got the best man that she could get. You happy because you got the dime you've always wanted. And boom, life goes on. Y'all, you transition from being a cool kid or whatever you was doing to being a dad, a husband, and you kind of get on with life. Now, options seem limitless because all you got to do is grab your phone and instantly you're in contact with someone in Europe or Asia or Africa, right? Or Australia, wherever, you know what I mean? Literally, you're talking to big money. If you're a beautiful woman, you talking to extremely wealthy men in all four corners of the globe. Not to mention the guys in your region. So you don't even see them anymore because, again, hypergamy, like I've always said, I think is a far, far superior dating strategy than the one that men employ. For women, they want to get the best that they can get. Why am I going to deal with old boy who was like all city on the basketball team, maybe won a state title or whatever, but we still here in Cincinnati, you know what I mean? He making $50,000, $60,000 a year, right? And he's still living off that game winning shot that he hit to win state. When I could be talking to a guy who has a title, I'm talking to the Baron of Ipswich or wherever the hell, you know what I mean? Or I'm talking to some Russian oligarch's son, or I'm talking to some sheik, right? As a female, you're talking to some sheik who got money like that, just don't care, it's going to bring you out. Now, the problem is this. These top tier elite men, they playing out there. And that's what Melanie is about to get into right now. So let's listen to what she was saying.
I think more and more men need to hold men accountable as well. I think, this is what I'm going to say. There are, men like Andrew Tate, right? For example, if you think about it, if he's flying out girls from Omaha and he's flying out girls from this, that, and the other, it is men in that caliber, okay, whether it's money, whether it's usually money, I'm going to be honest, it's money. They are reaching out. Their tendrils are I honestly think it is Chad. It is the top Chads that have caused this problem and not women.
But
because
can I push back?
Top Chads are reaching out, sleeping with all these women, making the women seem like that's where they're going to get. So then they're unsatisfied with average or even above average men because they think they have all these options because all of these men now, this is actually what has happened in the old days. History is repeating itself, guys.
So as you can see, Melanie's take on this is like, well, it's the dude's fault. She's agreeing that these women are going out here and they're out of control. Right? Hence the title, Thoughts, Culture. They're out here. They getting their backs blown out. You know what I mean? They're on that penis carousel. They riding it. They riding that pony. They doing their thing. Right? That's what Mel is saying. And what she goes on to say is, and the point that she's making, and you'll see as we continue here, that it's not the female's fault for chasing after these high status guys, these top tier men. It's not the woman's fault for doing that, right? For executing her hypergamous nature, I guess. It's not her fault for executing this strategy. She's just trying to get the best she can. It's the fault of the men who have achieved this status, either born into it or self-made or however they did it. It's their fault for using that same status to get these women in to their world, get these women to sleep with them, and then they send these women back to the streets. And I just couldn't agree with her on that. I was like, oh man, I love you, girl, but I can't give you that. So let's continue.
So this is what used to happen back in the day, where the lords, the top men, would take wives, would take the common girl, would even take other men's wives, because money, it was not looks, it was money that would rank them higher. And so they would have all the wives and all the women. And the average man, even the above average man, he would not have a wife. And I think it's because men are not, these men who are up there, they are knocking down all these women, have access. That is who has actually disturbed the market, because women would not be full of themselves if men like that were not reaching out.
Now, so women would not be full of themselves if men like that wouldn't be reaching out. But women also know that men want that Foxy Brown. Miss AKA Lady, what's good? Hello, hello, welcome. Thanks for coming through. Like I said, always appreciate the support. You always there for a brother. You know what I mean? Thank you for showing up. Brother O is in the house. South Africa's in the house, which is a really good perspective too, because this, again, the game has gone global. Brother O is in the house. He's out of South Africa. Unfortunately, everything boils back down to men. It all starts with what we allow as men. All right, that's cool. That's cool. That's a good perspective. I'm on the other side of that. I'm on the side that, you know, with this freedom comes accountability. And I'm talking about for women. You have to know, and all women know this, dudes want the Foxy Brown. They want sex. Tell me if I'm wrong. Dude, women got to know this. Grown women have to know this. So when you pursue a top tier guy, it's like proceed at your own risk. Really play at your own risk. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna have to do something to ensure success when you're dealing with someone who has so many options. Is what I'm thinking. So I did go on to say some things. So let's give it a listen. I agree with you. We are like 98% in agreement. But here's my pushback. When you talk about men of old, go all the way back to biblical times, right? Who was it? King David, who he lusted for some woman and had her husband sent off the war to die so he can have her. Right. This has always been the thing. What has changed? Women have the choice. Women control sexual access. We call it Foxy Brown over there on my platform. You know, women decide who gets the Foxy Brown. Men decide who gets the relationship. So I would push back and say, yes, of course, all of the top tier guys are doing everything they can to have as much fun as they can and run through these women, but they can't do it. They can't fly you out if you refuse to get on the aircraft. And that was the biggest point I wanted to make. I can, okay, go for the top tier dude, my love. I ain't mad at you, but understand where you are. If a guy who on a sexual scale or whatever is a 4, right, a notch below average, and he's going after a 10, and he's leading with his wallet, he's gonna spend a lot of money. He's gonna expend a lot of time and resources to get this woman, and more than likely, he's not going to be successful. Men know that going in. But the guy's like, I'm gonna try it anyway. I'm gonna try it. But he know going in, right? And it's not even in like the back of his brain. It's not even a little voice. It's a very loud bullhorn voice. Boy, you know you don't qualify for this chick. Now, of course, if he has game and all this other kind of stuff, there are millions of variables. You know what I mean? Simply because he might not be physically attractive and he has all his bread, but if he has some game and he knows how to leverage, you know, his assets, so to speak, like his sexual assets, his sexual market value to get what he wants and more. And like I said, more often than not, it's just the Foxy Brown. His goal is just to get the Foxy Brown. So if he's like, all right, I got this dime, she's fine as I don't know what, I'm going to bring her out on this yacht, just me and her, have the butler bring us a meal, this, that, and the third, you know what I mean? Kind of string her along with this lifestyle, have a helicopter fly us off the boat to my penthouse or whatever. Yeah, you're going to smash, bro. More than likely, you're going to smash. And if you don't, if you got the money, it doesn't hurt. She's like, I don't care. If that's how they lead, if that's their game. But they understand, like, yo, man, I'm punching way above my weight, but I'm going to go for it. Women don't seem to have that in their in their mindset. In their mind, they're like, oh, I got this guy. Off rip. It doesn't matter where they are on that scale. They could be, again, a notch below average or maybe a notch above average. Let's say they're a 6, maybe a 7. And they're going after a guy, top tier guy who's a solid 10. And they're like, you know, they got bad attitude. Not that pretty. You know what I mean? They don't bring any value. You got all this kind of stuff. And they're like, well, he's going to be mine and he's going to be loyal to me. And all that guy wants to do is bounce up and down on that big booty. And that's what he gets. And then he's on to the next one. And then she's there mad. And Mel is saying it is the man's fault for doing that. And I just don't agree. That's my only pushback.
But this is the thing. And this is what men are not understanding. And I still do not think, I have not come across a single man on any channel or any space or any person I've ever talked to. They do not get this. They do not understand women. They don't fundamentally understand female psychology. Women en masse, we do not understand the difference between sexual attention and actual intentions.
I got to agree with Mel on this. Women do conflate sexual attention with relationship attention. Right? There's two different ways a man's going to gun at you out there in the real world. If he's trying to wife you, he's going to approach a certain way. And if he's just trying to smash to get the Foxy Brown, he's going to approach a certain way. And women, because they're getting the attention, they don't understand that there are two different roads here. So I absolutely agree with Mel on that point. Women get that confused all the time. All the time. A guy's running one type of game, right? And he might be trying to get the Foxy Brown. And she's getting the attention and she's like, it's all good, I'm golden. When in fact, maybe you're not. Because she might be thinking, this is relationship. We're going the long run. I'm going to be his woman. I'm finna get wifed up or booed up or whatever that she's looking for. I'm going to get the commitment. And that's not necessarily the case. So, brother, the same mentality of women being entitled to a top guy is also appearing here in South Africa. No kidding. Traditional polygamous relationships are slowly being frowned upon, and feminist ideas are spreading. And what's that? That's polygamous? I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. So are you saying traditional relationships where both parties are just monogamous? It's just the two. It's just them forsaking all others. It's like in the vows. That's the traditional way here. Or are you saying that these feminist ideas are kind of these new wave? We don't have to just put it all on feminism, but the new wave ideas are catching on in South Africa. That's interesting. That's interesting. And Miss AKA lady, everybody got to take responsibility for how they move. Also, you can't assume everyone has the same intentions. Yeah, and it's easy to do that. It's easy to do that. And it goes both ways, people. It goes both ways. I can remember meeting women, and I'm thinking, oh, she the one. This is the one I want to be with. You know what I mean? I could definitely see myself starting a family with her, being happy, you know what I mean, riding off into the sunset, da-da-da. But she's looking at me like, man, I just want him to, you know what I'm saying? I want him to make my toes curl. I just want him to come over here, smash me good. You know what I mean? High five, pat him on the butt on his way out. I don't want him to stay over the night, none of that. So we were coming at it from two different angles, two different worlds. So it's not just men. There are women out there too who are just like, yo, man, I need you to be the bad boy I know you are. And then you coming as a dude, you know what I mean, who used to be out there like that. Like, I'm tired of being a bad boy. I need you to be the woman of my dreams. And Miss AKA lady is right. There, you know what I mean? People there are misunderstandings. You know what I mean? Brother Roz is in the house. Agree with AKA. I'm getting the impression that many of is are living in generalities. Yeah, many of us are living in generalities. Yeah, we're in our own bubbles. We're definitely in our own bubbles. And that's what that is. Brother Roz is Rozelle is in the house. That's what's good. Yeah, we're in our own bubbles, man. So and these are the conversations that we need to be having so people understand, so they don't, go out here and get themselves hurt, you know what I mean? Or like for women, go out here and they trying to, you know what I mean, sport smash dudes. They trying to get out here and smash dudes like dudes will smash the women. Don't do that, ladies. Don't do that. Right? Don't. Please don't. So we're going to continue with the video.
Unless he is a complete like, girl, I'm trying to drink your bath water. Speaking of bath water,
I'm not drinking yours, girl.
No, Fawcett Media talking about you gotta go to work on Myra's feet. So talking about what's his name? Jerome used to want to drink her bath water.
Yeah, and they was clowning me in the chat talking about I wanted to drink her bath water.
Speaking of that, and then let me just read this from DB11. It says DB11 says dated in the Philippines in the service. These women are traumatized and very streetwise. Are you talking about women here or women in the Philippines?
And then later on, DB11 clarified he was talking about women in the Philippines, I guess. And the military has been the U.S. military, especially U.S. Navy, has been a fixture in the Philippine culture since probably the end of the Second World War. So they're used to Westerners, they're used to men, and they're used to like sailors and Marines, which I wouldn't argue is a good representation of all men in America. You know what I mean? You got the sailors and Marine Corps over there, especially the Marine Corps. You're talking about, top tier alpha, hard charging kind of young dudes. So the women in the Philippines are used to it. It is what it is. I have yet to go to the Philippines. I will be going. And I will also be checking out Thailand at some point. And when I do, I'll definitely let y'all know. Miss AKA lady, exactly. You can bring that general thought to the wrong person and miss out on a good thing because you're assuming wrong. Yeah, absolutely. And that's just part of life. You know what I mean? We zig when we zag sometimes. It is what it is. You are sure that the person that you're dealing with feels the same way you do, but you never ask them. You know what I mean? You never, because again, we're always running our game and we just assume stuff. So yeah, you're right. And Roz L, for example, first time I met you on Mel, once she said I was a Chad, it created a negative narrative of who I may be. Not necessarily, bro. I mean, it has. I can see how you would think, man, that's a negative tone. I'm a Chad, but what she was doing was paying you a compliment, one of the highest compliments she could. She placed you immediately in the top tier of all men. Top tier, and it had nothing to do with money, right? It had nothing to do with anything other than the fact that you were socially calibrated, right? You've taken care of yourself. You're an older man. She calls you a silver fox. You know what I mean? Like one of the guys who like physically you still there. You still have good looks, right? And I was talking about your game. Like your game is very subtle. Like you're a very subtle brother. You were worldly and you understand things. And she was paying you a compliment, but I could see how other people like, here's Chad, you think he's doing this down the third. You know what I mean? And when we out here moving around, and this is just my opinion, we're moving around in the dating world, game is kind of like playing blackjack, right? Going to Vegas and actually playing blackjack. When you're sitting at the table, it's you against the dealer, no matter if it's just you and the dealer or if it's you and 20 other people, y'all are all playing no one's game mathematically is going to affect your game if you play true. Now, of course, you sitting there and you watch people make bad plays, and it's like, man, that card, I would have won this card, or if that person didn't take that card, the dealer would have bust, we all would have won. And I understand all that. But mathematically speaking, if you sit there and play your game perfectly, right, you still have the best chance of beating the house playing blackjack if you play perfect, right? And that's the same thing with game. If you run your game perfect, you got an outstanding chance of winning, and winning being getting the woman you want, having her join your frame, being a leader, right? Standing your masculine and having her love to be in her feminine, which is really hard to do right now. It's really hard to do. You know what I mean? And Brother Oz, I didn't even know what it was. I thought it meant I was comparing to I was being compared to Mansa Musa. Nah, you ain't being compared to him, bro. Nah, not the richest man who ever walked the earth. You ain't being compared to him. But she was definitely giving you a compliment. And I mean, the fact that she brought you back up on the show after she interviewed you, she brought you back up. It really shows you know what I mean, that she's really impressed by you on some level.
Let us know. Are you talking about American women or who is it?
Oh, yeah, she's talking about the guy saying, but he said Filipino women.
It's the dating apps. I think what's going to happen is this is what's going to happen, guys. I got bad news, but I have good news as well. But I got bad news to start. The bad news is, it's going to take some years for the bubble to burst. Okay, it's a dating inflation market for women.
What do you mean by that? Give us an example.
Meaning it's like the housing market when it bursts. Okay, so I can just buy a house. I don't have to show no paperwork. I can just do whatever, get a house. It's worth this. I can sell it, and you go into all this.
So they get a top tier guy on the Ninja.
Right.
No income. So she's comparing today's dating market to the subprime lending situation in America suffered back in the early 2000s, from 2004 up, and then it crashed in 2008, something like that, where the banks and lending institutions were just giving away property. And she's like, with the Ninjas, like no income, no job. So what she's doing is she's comparing it to, she's like, women are running out here thinking they qualify for a top tier guy, and they have nothing to back it up. And they're getting deep with these dudes, and these dudes are just running right through them. And then when it's over, these women realize that they had nothing of value to keep that type of dude. So that's what she's saying. And it's like, and women are just going through this now, and then Melanie is saying that this is gonna basically come to an end here pretty soon.
Oh, okay. These are ninja loans going out. Women are getting ninja D. Okay, and they think
your mama watching.
Look, shit. Me and her was chatting it up, but that's why I said D and didn't say the whole word. But
that was real talk. Melanie's mom was in the chat last night. She dropped a huge super chat. She was in the chat. I just wanted to remind her of that.
That is what's going on. So women are getting, these loans, this D on loan, and honestly.
And this was my favorite part of the conversation when she said that, they getting this dick on loan and they don't even qualify. Bro, bro, that's fire. That's fire. That's why I rock with her. That's why I rock with Mel. She be saying some, she be dropping them, right? For real. What the kids call them, gems? She be dropping them gems.
See, it is. It's dick on loan. I'm just going to say it is dick on loan. And they, but they don't own it. That's not their property. That's not their property, free and clear. And so what it is when people invest in property, if I got this property, I can get another property and another property and another property and another property. But what happens?
And this is a point that I think this is a really good point that Mel is making. And this is something that women do. Women judge their sexual market value based on the last guy they got or the best guy they've ever been with. So what do I mean by that? If you're like, let's say a woman is like a 6 or a 7, you know what I mean? Like she's like, a couple notches above average, but she was messing with an NBA player. Right. She just knows how to wear makeup real good. Maybe she has a BBL or whatever, or maybe she has natural body. She takes care of her body, whatever. And she's like, well, I'm messing with this clouded up NBA guy, multimillionaire. And that doesn't work out. Right. Let's say it doesn't work out. Now, unless you're at that level, in her mind, you don't qualify to her. You just don't qualify. She's like, no, I'm at millionaire status level, clouded up athlete. This is where I'm at. You need to meet this barrier. You need to meet this barrier to mess with me. When we was little, we used to go to these rides. You know what I mean? You got to be this tall to ride this ride, sort of thing. That's what women are doing, not realizing that these top tier guys were just blowing your back out, having fun. You know what I'm saying? They doing it like who's that? It ain't no fun if my homies can't have none. Like they running you through the whole crew. But you're like, oh, I love you and I'm doing it for you. Meanwhile, you a party favor. But that's it. That is your barrier to entry. So I think that's what Mel is referring to. You know what I mean? In my story, this chick got in on that ninja, got herself a millionaire. He blew her back out, had some fun, threw her to his crew. They had some fun, got rid of her. But she was like, I can't date anyone below that now because she believes she qualifies for that millionaire status.
When your interest rate finally, when that balloon payment is due, okay,
and you got no income and no job.
So the balloon payment is when you run out of options, that pussy's old, you got kids, or your mindset is so bad, no man really wants you like that. And so you will continue to get dick down, but you will not have a relationship. And I think it's going to take a couple of years for that bubble to pop. And this is why I'm doing this, because women need to understand, because a man sleeps with you and you think this, that, and the other, because a man sleeps with you, ladies, you do not understand. He doesn't, or he's talking to you. He does not want to be in a relationship with you. And your body.
And that's real talk. That's real talk, and that's hard to understand. But I again, like, women need to understand that. They need to accept and understand that, because this is coming from a beautiful woman. You know what I mean? Like, she's a witness to this sort of stuff. And she says this before. She's like, because we talk about how money plays a role in dating these days. We get into that here. But I think that was real important what she said.
Bypassing guys that you can actually afford.
But it sounds
because you think, and until the bubble bursts, when they are left with nothing, when no man, they age out of this, and then at some point their mindsets is like, well, what do I do now? And then guess what they do? They go on the internet, they start searching for information, and guess who's been doing the work? Everybody in the red pill community that's been putting this information out here, and so now that's when the tide turns. So
you would then agree with me that, let's say it's 49-51. Women, and we talk 49-51% responsibility, and the 51% is women. They should be responsible for their own actions and accountable for their decisions. That's what I'm saying. Because they have to accept the Chad's offer.
But you don't understand female psychology. The Chads are actually who started this issue. The Chads are who started the issue because, guys, y'all still.
And this is what Melanie was. She got way off the reservation, and she was sitting there struggling, trying to put it into words. You know, you can't blame men for adjusting to the dating game that women dictate. Women run roughshod over the dating game. Women choose who have sex. Men choose who get relationships. So guys are going to adjust to the situation on the ground so they can, get what they want, which is the Foxy Brown. So this is where I just don't agree with Melanie at all, just on this one part.
Still don't get it.
Didn't feminism start this, though? If we walk it back.
Yes, feminism did. But people who started dating apps were men. And the dating apps, in my opinion, because feminism's been here for a while. I think outside of feminism, I think it's actually the dating apps. The way women now have an access of all these different men that will sleep with them. And so women.
Again, back to it's the man's fault. Brother Roz, like her current comment about Chad is why I say it's a negative comment. I get that. But again, in the context of this conversation, we're talking about the top tier men. And she's saying that the Chads, every time you hear Chad, substitute that with top tier guy or high value guy, top tier man or high value man. That's what she's saying. You know what I mean? Because the Chad is a term just for these guys who are they're handsome, they're like, ripped up, they're in shape, and they have money, and they have experience, they have all this stuff. So just she was giving you a compliment, my brother. She was giving you one of the highest compliments that she could possibly do on that platform. Real talk. Dr. B was good. Welcome. Yeah, woman, change the game, but complain about the long-term results of it. Exactly. That's my whole point right there. Dr. B, that is my whole point. That's my whole point right there. You know, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm surprised that Mel was saying these things, but you know, she could be doing it for content, to be honest with you. I'm not, you know, she could be playing devil's advocate. I mean, she said that at one point during our conversation. She could be playing devil's advocate. I'm not quite sure where she is, but I am certain that she's putting this information out and she's trying to help men and women. And then Brother Roz is like, yeah, that like, is that the general definition? I'm going to find a definition for you. If you were to go onto YouTube, like go on YouTube and then type in Chad, it'll take you to a whole bunch of different pages that use that term. I use top tier guy. I use top tier man. There's a guy out there called Wheat Waffles. I think he pretty much coined the phrase, if I'm not mistaken. And he gets into the weeds on this, bro. Wheat Waffles is definitely worth watching some of his content. But I got to tell you, man, that's way down the rabbit hole of the RP world, really into the black pill world. You know what I mean? So check it out. But I think that's who pretty much. I'm not gonna say he is the one who sparked the term, but that's where I see the term used the most. And then Brother O, what do you think will be the rest of gender? Will be the rest of gender roles or gender understanding? It depends on where you live. I mean, if you live someplace where finding food is a struggle, if you live someplace where, you know, death is a common thing, you know, either through violent revolution or through oppression, being oppressed by a government or being oppressed by an authoritarian government or something like that. If you live in these kind of places, gender roles are solid. Men are men and women are women, right? But the further you get away from that, like you live someplace like America where you don't have to go find fresh water. You can go see a doctor. You can get food every single day. We waste food over here. Like if you live in somewhere in America where you don't have these, you know, life or death struggles, then yeah, you can be whoever you want to be. Like my daughter refuses to say she's a girl. She calls herself a piece of cheese. I got to deal with this every single day. I have a beautiful 13-year-old daughter. And every day we go through this. She doesn't want to say she's a girl, even though her body is changing into a woman. She doesn't want to acknowledge she's a girl. And not only is she a girl, she's going to be a beautiful woman. So I'm constantly talking about that to her because she's getting what she's getting from the outside world, like from school, from her friends, and from the internet. So it depends on where you live, my brother. You know what I mean? If the defecation hits the oscillator down there in South Africa, man, and shit jump off and y'all got to go grab your weapons and defend your way of life. Yeah, roles are going to be defined clearly. Men are men and women are women. Look what happened in Ukraine, right? All the women got on buses and trains and got out the country. All the men came home to fight. So, but you come here to America, yeah, you're going to have pink-haired men, boys, you know, girl, boy, whatever they are, which is cool, running around saying what they want to say, being who they want to see. They'll be like my daughter running around saying she's a piece of cheese. I'm like, yeah, you can be a piece of cheese, but you're a girl piece of cheese. So it depends on where you are, brother. And Brother Roz, I'm sure other cultures are going through these relationship issues, but it seems black people struggle with relationships is so extra. It is, bro. I mean, and that ties into a whole bunch of other stuff, which we could get into later. I'm still waiting for, I tried to send myself the link, bro, so I can send it to you. And it has not come through. All right, I'm going to have to do it again in a second, man. As soon as we finish up with this video. Miss AKA lady, I totally hate that she buys into the notion that you're unattainable after a certain age. Ooh. And that, you know, that term, and this is for Brother Roz, unattainable after a certain age, that term is the wall on the manosphere red pill side of the world. They call it the wall. The wall comes for women and men alike, but men hit the wall a little bit later in life. There are men who want a grown woman with her stuff together, and there are men who want young women to mold. That's a good point. That is a good point. But I know it sucks and it's hard to hear sometimes, but it's just women have the most. I'm talking in general, and this is not DL Saint. This is what the manosphere, this is what the red pill teaches. Women peak earlier than men. So women have the most leverage when we're talking about sexual marketplace. We're not talking about who they are as a person. We're not talking about them being able to earn, support themselves, have a career, go whatever. We're not talking about all that. We're talking about just beauty standards. Women have the most leverage when they're young, when they're, let's say, between 18 and let's say 28, right? 30 is pretty much the cutoff. Like 30 is when people are like, oh, she might be over the hill. She might have hit the wall, whatever. But when women are young and beautiful, right? They're fit, all that stuff. That is when they have the most leverage. And the red pill, the manosphere says that is the time when women should be leveraging that beauty to get the best guy that they can get. Now, men, it takes time to attain all of the things that make you attractive to a woman. Money. You know what I mean? They talk about money, game, and frame. It takes time for men to get that. It takes time. I mean, I didn't make over $100,000 until I was in my 30s. Right? It took time to get there. You know, so, you know, as far as making millions and all that, I won't be consistently making millions until, I mean, probably over the next 10 years. If I get there, I won't be consistently making that kind of bread, especially, you know, being retired, I have to do other things. But the older I get, the more success I have found and earned, the more things I can do, the more successful I can be. So for a man, his leverage comes later in life. So for, you know, and all they're trying to say is women should capitalize on that youth and beauty, right? You know, get the best guy they can get. If they want to have a family, have that family when they're young, do all that kind of stuff. That's what the manosphere teaches. But yeah, I know it's tough to hear. And yes, there are men who want young women that they can mold, and there are men who want older women who are more secure and all that kind of stuff. Someone like me, I'm not looking for somebody who wants to have a baby. I got my kids. I'm done. I'm not having kids. I'm not dealing with that. Right. I don't want to deal with someone who has young children. You know what I mean? I don't deal with someone who has kids. I want the kids to be at least my daughter's age. At least that. No, not younger. So, and why is that? Like, well, because I'm taking care of my child. It's cool. We can do that. And then once our kids are out of the house or in college or whatever they're doing, then we can do what we got to do. But I'm not trying to have no more kids and stuff like that. But that's just me. People have their own thing going on out here. So let me try to catch up with the chat, and then we'll continue with the video. And then Dr. B, men must become, women just are. Yeah, you hear that a lot on the red pill side. Men must create their value. Women are born with their value. So women must protect and hold on to their value, and men have to create their value. Right. So it's a bad look for women to go out there and just waste all their value on these, just running around, you know what I mean, smashing dudes, doing whatever, you know, riding the D carousel and all that kind of stuff. That's a bad look. That's a bad look. That's not good for the long term. Brother O, there's a struggle here in my country, but women are still not fully submitting to their men, even though they are the main breadwinners. But with that example you gave, it seems Valentine's reset thing. Yeah, I mean, the closer you get with life and death type issues, like when I was in the military, man, when they sent us to faraway lands to do whatever for God and country, those countries, men were men, women were women. We saw it right off rip. I mean, there's some times like the Vietnam War where women would step up and fight. There were times in World War II when women would step up and fight. You look at what's going on in Ukraine right now. Women are stepping up and fighting. You know what I mean? But that's not the norm. Right. So normally men go out and they fight the wars, and women, they stay back. They take care of the children. Right. And they do what they got to do for society in that aspect. But when things are good, right, when things are good, people get to sit around and think and do whatever they want to do. You know what I mean? Things in America are good. People over here complaining. It's like, all right. So that's my take on it anyway, man. What do I know, man? I'm just an old dude sitting in front of his camera in the attic. And then Dr. B, fact, same here. I didn't make over 100K until I was 35 plus. I hardly had a dollar to my name when I was 18 and in college. Yeah. And I ain't gonna lie, when I was young, man, I was broke. I was a hustler. I was out there doing what I had to do. But I was at my peak when it came to womanizing. The less money I had, the better I was at getting chicks because I knew I couldn't lead with my wallet. So, that's why I'm always talking about game. And from my perspective, game always trumps money. Game slant confidence trumps all. And I tell these young guys all the time, man, don't be a weirdo. Get your confidence up. When you go talk to a woman and she shoots you down, walk back like a man, hold your head up. Don't call her out of her name. You know what I mean? All right, love. You know what I mean? Well, it was a pleasure talking to you. I don't care how ratchet she was. Walk away and be like, woo, that was a close call. You know what I mean? If she's ratchet like that, you know what I mean? And then circle back and get somebody in her crew because best believe her friends were watching you. Best believe. They'll be like, oh, man, that was a gentleman. I'm going to go holler at him. One of her friends will definitely come over to the bar and put herself in your orbit. Or she'll catch you somewhere and put herself in your orbit trying to get you to holler at her for real. So that's what I tell the young guys. You know what I mean? It's all about the courage, confidence, game. There's a saying I once heard that a man's true value only shines in tough times. Yeah, and there's a saying over here. Tough men, hard men make good times make soft men make tough times, and tough times make hard men or good men, right? So you see the cycle, right? And when I hear that, and I might have hacked that up a little bit. If someone knows the exact quote, please put it in the chat. But I like seeing that, and that's where we are. We America is in that cycle where the soft men are doing everything they can to make hard times. And then the hard men are going to have to step up and deal with those issues and make good times. So it's just a cycle. And I think that cycle applies for all of our society, all of our species. Again, just my take. Let me say, hey lady, I'm going to read this and then we're going to go back to the video. If you want a basketball player, then yes, be young. But a lot of regular men just want a loyal woman that will care for him and the house. That is absolutely valuable. But the internet says different. I agree with you. The problem is this. Most women, we're not talking about you, Miss AKA lady. You know what I mean? You're an outlier. You know what I mean? You are the exception to the rule. Most women don't see the majority of men. In other words, like 80% of men are invisible to most women. That good guy you talking about is invisible to the woman, you know what I mean, that 6, 7, 8 who's chasing the bag. She doesn't see the assistant manager at Target, right? She doesn't see the manager at McDonald's. She doesn't see the guy who just opened up a new franchise restaurant or whatever, Kinko's or whatever he just did. She doesn't see those guys. She doesn't see the plumber. Right? She doesn't see the contractor. She doesn't see him. And that's the problem. And that goes back to this video. That's why I can't agree with Mel. It is 100% the woman's responsibility, and she needs to be accountable for her actions. And those actions are letting these top tier dudes smash.
And set that as their new standard. And so they're not satisfied until they get certain things. And so that's what I'm saying. You need to have as much the same level of smoke men have for modern women. You need to give it to Chads who are dicking down women that are below their pay grade.
That's where we don't agree. That little bit right there. I mean, you can't dick them down if they say no. If it weren't so easy for the Chads, and then I can't feel sorry for the majority of women who don't even see the bottom 80 of men. Like some of the men who come on here.
The reason why they don't is because the world has opened up where they have access to the Chads or the hope of a Chad.
And it's funny that Mel, she's just 10 toes down on this thing. She keeps blaming the men. You know what I mean? Dr. B, 90-10 rule. Most women don't see or notice most men. He said, I gave it 80-20. He's saying 90-10. And I ain't going to lie to you. Yeah, it's closer to that. It's closer to that. Roz, man, if you're still in the chat, bro, I sent to your Instagram, man. I sent you a link if you want to pop up on the screen and we could talk a little bit, man. Like I said, I do have 2 more videos that I got to pull up, but just jump on, man. Let me know. But yeah, 90-10 rule. And here's the thing: Men accept and understand that. Hey man, we get it. We accept it. Right? That is the situation on the ground. This is what you're dealing with. If you want to get yourself a woman, you're going to have to step yourself all the way up. Either you have to game yourself all the way up or, hit that money game frame thing. Get yourself, work yourself to a position where you're going to be more attractive to women. That's what you got to do. Men accept that. Most men. Some men, of course, are going to sit in the basement, they cry, eat Cheetos or whatever, and just, continue to be socially awkward and not try to better themselves. It is what it is. Miss AKA lady, even if someone offers you the Foxy Brown, doesn't mean you need to take it. It sounds like you're saying men don't have self-control, therefore can't be responsible for their actions. Is that what you're saying? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is men, these guys, these top tier guys who've built themselves up to be at this point, if they want women, if they want Foxy Brown, they're going to take it. Especially when the women are throwing themselves at these guys. They're going to take it. All they got to do is slide into somebody's DM, fly them out to New York, fly them out to LA, fly them out. You know what I'm saying? If these chicks are getting flued out and getting their back blown out, that's the game. Right? Of course. I think my take on it is, of course, these men are going to want to, smash these beautiful women. I think Rosalind Sanchez is one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. Right? I caught a glimpse of her in LA once. I think she's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. If Rosalind Sanchez, if I can slide into her DMs, fly her to Tampa, and she's going to come out for a weekend, and we're going to blow each other backs out or whatever for the weekend, and she's going to go back home to her life. You don't think I would do that? I would do that in a heartbeat. I would do it in a heartbeat. Why not? Now, am I saying I'm going to marry Rosalind Sanchez? Nope. Matter of fact, she's already married. Right? So it's not a matter of a lack of self-control. You know what I mean? It's not so much a matter of self-control. So I see you back there, Brother Roz. I'm going to bring you up in a second. So I'm not saying that. And again, this goes back to what Kevin Samuels used to say. This is what all the red pill guys are saying. The top tier guys, they have options. They can exercise these options if they choose. That's all we're saying here. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm chalking it up to the game. That's what I'm saying. And I really put the responsibility on the women. Like, you got to know what it is, right? You got to know what it is. Are there some guys out there lying? Yeah. Are they really good at it? Yeah. Are they the majority of those top tier guys? No. Even before I made a lot of money, I used to always tell women, yo, you part of this rotation. You number one. You my number one. But it's 4 more behind you. I would let them know up front. Nah, this ain't, you're going to see me with other people. Don't trip. You have to agree to this. If you agree to this, then it's on. You know what I mean, brother B? Men have a scarcity mindset by default, and women have an abundance mindset by default. I agree with that. Tia Kiki's in the house. What's good, love? Stopping by to drop a like. Thank you. Appreciate that. Like the video, fam. Appreciate that. Yes. The Fresh and Fit fam coming up in here showing support. I really appreciate it. I hate that a lot of women don't see the value in regular men. Agreed. Most men would agree with you there. A woman's nature is to multiply and make things better. Get a regular man and turn him into a top tier man easy. But be careful with that, Miss AKA lady. Be careful with that. Don't turn a dude into a top tier guy and then be surprised when he jumps ship. Or all of a sudden he gonna, flip the script on you, start saying this, down the third. Be careful with that. A man must become on his own. Don't take a guy like, oh, I'm gonna make you a top tier guy. Don't do that. Don't do that. That could, it's like an old saying, you should never buy a woman's shoes. Because if you buy shoes, those would be shoes she's wearing when she walks out on you. You know what I mean? Like that song, these boots are made for walking. That's what they do. You know what I mean? These boots are going to walk all over you. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful. You got to be careful. So let me bring Brother Roz up here for a second. What's good, bro? How you feeling?
Peace, man. How you doing? I'm doing well.
I'm doing all right, man. Got the De La Soul shirt on, man. That's what I'm talking about. Potholes in my lawn.
You got to represent the era.
Got to represent the era, man. I ain't mad at you. I'm working on a show now, man. It's going to be called The Prophets of Hip Hop. you know what I mean, what rap foresaw. I'm working on that show now where I'm gonna get rappers from back as far back as the 70s, man, all the way back to the message and stuff like that, and just read the lyrics and just be like, how come people weren't listening? Because everything these rappers were talking about was going on then and still going on to this day.
And I'm loving you saying that because it's gonna segue to my. I wanted to mention it the first time I met you at Mel's YouTube, but we got all caught up with fun. Remember KRS-One once said in one of his songs, "The girls look so good, but their brains are not ready.
So let's go."
I'd rather talk to a woman because her mind is much ready or steady, whatever. So, fortunately for me, I took the words to heart. And just like everybody else, when I went to college, most of my craziness, and just because my mom and dad were strict, even me as a guy, I went from New York down to Mississippi State and then NC State. And those first 2 or 3 years of college, you know, you're right. Your looks do matter, because I'm gonna tell you, I will see a pretty girl. I was like, "Hey, how you doing? My name is," and "Hey, you want to come over?" And I was like, "Oh shoot, is that quick?" But then songs like that, meeting mentors, professors like who look like us, who taught me about things that you were showing in your other clip, like Mansa Musa. I was like, yo, I just, and plus the way my family raised me, that kept outweighing this whole thing of smashing broads. And honestly, I've always wanted to be a relationship kind of dude. But like the other brother who said, hey, when I was 18 and broke, it was no joke. But like how you also said, hey, what I had to do was work on my charm, work on my confidence. I played sports in college for 2 years. I did martial arts since I was a little kid. It really does build confidence. It may take a while for you to do it as you start getting older and finding those parallels, but I didn't abuse it, you know. Unfortunately, you can as a man. Even I sometimes disagree with this whole thing of the upper tier, lower tier, because man, I don't know, maybe some of the guys I know just have a gift of gab. I will always see these average guys, and I know in our time, dudes who are slinging, they're getting attracted by women because they have a lot of money and very noticeable things. But I just, from my vantage point, I'm just always glad that I know when I look in the mirror, and it's unfortunate, I say to myself, it's my own regret that I got a little bit too picky, but my pickiness wasn't because of looks. My pickiness was that quote about KRS-One, like, yo, what's going on in these women's head? So It baffles. Like when I meet, like even when I met Mel, she was like, what the heck? You're 52 looking like that, no wife, no children. Yo, man, imagine I would have just spilled my milk. That's the quote with the wrong woman. And then now I can't see my children. Because
I can tell you about that, bro.
My head.
I can tell you
my head.
and I can tell you about that, bro.
Okay.
And but I mean, we won't. You already know those stories. Those are horror stories. But when women today see a brother like you, and they were like, oh, red flag. You know what I mean? 52 years old. He's fit. You know what I mean? Handsome guy. Got a good head on his shoulders. How come he doesn't have a woman? How come he doesn't get it? He's a player. He's a Chad. You know what I mean? And you explain it like, well, maybe you were too cautious. Now we looking back like, oh, man, I'm half a century plus years old. Damn, I was too cautious. But the good thing is you're a man. So you can still pull whatever you want. I said it on the show, and it was after you came out. I'm like, look, I said it on my show when I was reacting to our video with Mel. I'm like, look, bro, just keeping it 100. You can get a woman tonight. And if you wanted her to marry you, you'd be married next month. Just keeping it 100, right? I mean, if the mission was to get married, would it be hard for you to get married?
I'm gonna since it's a real small crowd, I feel less private. That was another thing in her show. I know it was like 400 or 500 people, and I didn't. Would you believe me? The last 5 women I approached, that these are the responses. I'm already dating. Or if it's like in an outside social setting, oh, I'm here with my girlfriends, kind of like, leave me alone. This is New York City, so I don't know if you've ever been here for a long time. It's been toxic even when I just wanted, like hanging with the boys, looking at how my boys are getting reactions from women. That's a turnoff. Like I don't want to get the figurative claws on my face.
Right.
So I don't know if I agree with you, bro. Maybe it's just I'm a humble dude, and I don't put the blame on women. I understand what's going on in society. I'm under a rock, but it's by choice because I don't feel like dealing with that stuff. But I'm not sure about. I can't give you a yes or no. I can't give you an absolute.
Man, I'll put 1,000 on it, bro. I'll put 1,000 on it. I can have 10 ladies lined up right now that would meet you, spend a week with you, and be ready to marry you. I am not lying.
The hardest part is meeting, like, you know what I mean? The one that's going to be quality. You're right. When I was, I remember when we were early college, me and my college football teammate roommate, he was more of a dog. He was like, man, he goes, think about baseball. An all-star, you got to get 1 out of 3 hits, basically 33%, or 3 out of 10. He was like, yo, if you talk to 10 women, you don't have to be all-star. You just got to get 1 of them.
Just get, hey, bro, and I know, and I know we
at this age, man, that's work. In my city.
It is work. And Miss AKA Lady has a question for you, bro. She's like, if you don't mind saying, what age are you attracted to at 50?
Man, I'm not trying to go less than 40 at this time.
Word?
I mean, look, if it's somebody who's younger, she can't be, man, she better come super correct. Or at least
so 40 is the bottom, or would you drop down to 30?
I'm just saying that I would be happy woman who's 40 who takes care of herself. And I don't need, like, I'm not chasing 25. I'm not chasing 30. If a 25-year-old woman presented herself, which I would be very like I don't want to go to your dad and I'm his age. That's like the little kind of things that I don't have an answer for my floor. If it's somebody very young, man, the way things are out here, she has to be an exceptional woman.
Hey, bro, take you down to DC, Atlanta, even Miami, Vegas. Bro, I'm telling you, man, you'll have so many women.
Man, I agree with you. When I went to college in the South, and I wish I would have stayed instead of coming back home.
Oh, the South doesn't change now, man. It's not the same.
I'm sure it has, but while I was there, I left at 97, and it wasn't how it is now because I still have family and friends down there. I just wanted to come home.
Yeah, I ain't mad at you, bro. The South is still different than, like, especially New York, LA, Miami. You know what I mean? Like DC, like those top tier cities. It's really hard in the game, man. It really is. But flyover country is still wide open. There are a lot of people who watch content like this. They watch red pill content and stuff like that. They think that men are saying, and a lot of men are saying it, but I'm not saying this. They're like, American women are trash. I'm not saying that. There are no good women anymore. I'm not saying that either. There are great women. Miss AKA Lady is an example of that. That's an amazing woman. Sandy B. Law's in the house. Shout out to you, love. An amazing woman. You know what I mean? Suzette Speaks, Melanie King. The list goes on and on and on. But when you go to flyover country, you tend to find more of those women. The problem is the internet. Like I said at the top of this program, there are top tier guys that can reach out to these women in flyover country, in these obscure places, and fly them to London, fly them to Paris, fly them to Tokyo, and you cannot compete with that.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And that's what's going on here. But Dr. B was saying, I will say attracting women when you're older as a man does get easier, especially if you do the work to be higher value. He's absolutely right. I did a video on that. Dating in your 50s is not bad at all if you did the work. You know what I mean? If you did the work. And brother Roz did the work. You know what I mean? It just staying in shape is doing the work. You know what I mean? Staying muscular, staying in shape. You know what I mean? You're keeping your skin right and all that kind of stuff. That's doing the work. You know what I mean? Maintaining yourself in New York. I don't know how you're doing that, bro. It costs a lot to live in New York, man. Well, it costs a lot.
And that's just a drive. Like homeboy just said, Dr. 8, I think. It took me a while. I went to college to play football, blew my knee out, got dejected, dropped out. I knew I was going back. I know a lot of people don't go back, doing part-time here, part-time there. And you guys are talking about the 100K salary. I didn't start doing that till I was 40. So you imagine, like, I'm really late as far as if you're meeting women who that's what matters. And you know what? Even if it's a good woman, I don't blame her for wanting to feel something. Not like she wants to take all my money, but just like, hey, I bought my house at 42 here in New York. And I'm like, I don't know how the heck I did it. I mean, I knew how I did it. I saved my chips.
Shit, millionaire status right there. Look out, these girls about to gun for you. Like, what's his social media? How can we find it?
Funny, man. So, but even yet, like, we don't like, you don't want to advertise never do when you meet a woman. But let me tell you, like, even though I'm a teacher here in New York, I don't work in New York City. I work in Westchester County, so the salary's a bit different. When I just say to a woman, this is how shallow it is, at least that's what I'm thinking. You meet women nowadays, I feel like it's always when I first went to LA, they never used to ask me, what's your name? They would just say, what do you do? Yep. And I would laugh. This was like in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then all of a sudden, New York became like that. And the minute I say, oh, I'm a math teacher, honestly, you can see the aura in their eye. I don't know how to explain, where they just, at the end of the conversation, hey, well, you want to stay in touch? And here comes I don't know, maybe it's the lack of excuse, the lack of interest. Maybe I didn't say anything right. I don't know. I'm just telling you, it's not as easy as, look, if you just want to have a good time and have sex till you 90, I think that might be easier.
Say it might be easy, because as soon as you say that, like, oh, what do you do? I'm a math teacher. Them girls are like, that's what they saying. As soon as you do that, boo, like, loser.
One time, just to fool around, I went out to have some beer. Right, they had a happy hour down in like in the village, and I was going down on a regular. So the bartender who served me, she was like, "Man, you always here like at 3 o'clock. How can you don't work?" And I said, "Oh man, I retired." She's like, "Aren't you too young to retire?" I said, "Oh man, I did a little bit of something. I designed race cars engine for Formula One." And this woman who was sitting next to, minding her business, I promise you, she turned around and you could almost see like the cartoon dollar signs in her eye.
Yeah.
And we were vibing, but I didn't ask for anything because I knew I was lying. And I left, and she had to look her face like, man, he didn't even ask for my phone number. And I shared the story with my friend's wife, and she said, yeah, man, that's just how it is.
As soon as she heard that, I designed engines for F1, she was like, what? You do what?
Holla. Men can lie and pull that stuff off.
Men lie all the time. Men, yeah. I mean, I'm not of that camp. I'm more like you, bro. Like I run my game. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now I will withhold facts. True. Right? I will withhold facts. I mean, I was air traffic controller. People like, what do you do? I work in an airport. That's all I said. I work in an airport. Some women would sit around and talk to me and figure it out. Someone would just go away. I'm like, cool, if you go away, just go away. I don't care. And then it got to a point when I started doing stand-up, like, well, I'm a comedian. The problem was in LA, that was a power move. Being a comedian, being a promoter brought a lot of women in. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. It's crazy out here. This is what me and Mel were talking about. I wanted to, Miss AKA lady had a point that I wanted to throw up here. She was like, I kind of disagree. You should be a better man with your woman. If he loses his mind after, that speaks to the flaws in him. If I can't make your life better, then I'm not the right woman for you. And that was to my point when I was like, don't make a man better. We got brother Lincoln in the house. You know what I mean? Fresh and fit. Dallas Cornerstone is up in here, man. I see you, brother. Y'all making big things happen out there in Dallas. You know what I mean? Welcome. Thanks for coming through. And I think we're caught up. Brother Jason's in the house. That's what's up. Out there on his credit hustle. Brother Jason, we did a show. We were talking about credit. Y'all go back and check that out. It was a top tier show. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It was high IQ. We're gonna do another one. We want to do a follow-up show because we had a couple audio like communication glitches or whatever. So we want to give you a pure, clean show and continue that conversation about good credit. But welcome, Brother Jason. Thanks for coming through. And Miss AKA lady says, I used to ask guys what they did for a living as a point of interest because I'm a career woman, but I learned how shallow that question comes off. It does come off a little shallow. You know what I mean? You got to be careful with that. That could set the stage for how he sees you. Yep. Do he see you as somebody he want to smash, or does he see you as someone long term? If you leading with what do you do? Oh, I'm just gonna blow your back out then. I design F1 engines. That's what I do. You know what I mean? I'm gonna bring you home, smash you, and send you on your way. Or if you the conversation goes a different route. You break the ice a different way. Oh man, she's smooth right here. I might wanna holler at her. Her mind is ready. So it depends.
I came into this fear because of the Kevin Samuel. One of my buddies showed me one of his. He was on that Fresh and Fit. I don't know if he was on Fresh and Fit or he's reacting to it. And I was like, wow, this was during the pandemic, so nobody was out. So everybody got all YouTubed up. And I heard something he said on one of the clips that I've been watching over the last 2 weeks. He didn't elaborate too much. I wish he would have. He said, man, us black people, we have overcomplicated this dating thing.
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode we have. I mean, there are issues to that, man. It gets into socioeconomic issue, man. It gets into racism, right? I mean, it stems all the way back to slavery, all sorts of things, bro. So, and I'm definitely going to take on that challenge and try to do an episode on that, bro. And I'll definitely hit you up on that. We can kind of do that one together. Brother B was saying, or Dr. B, I'm sorry, was saying, sometimes when women ask you what you do for a living, it's a long-term security screening question. Yes, because women are looking for certain things, security being one of them, financial security, physical security, and stuff like that. I get that. Miss Globe Girl is in the house. My favorite sailor is in the house. What's good, Miss Globe Girl? What are some other topics to break the ice from a man's perspective? Talk about his watch. You know what I mean? Talk about sports. Talk about maybe fashion. What would you say to that, Brother Roz?
I would focus more on the situation where you're at. It's hard, like if you're in a club, because I'm kind of old fashioned. The last woman I tried to speak to, I was at Home Depot and she was about to buy the rolled up grass. And I was like, don't buy that crap. You don't know how long it's been out here in the sun. And I started talking to her about Kentucky bluegrass seed because I'm kind of into that stuff. Mm-hmm. And, I guess in my point of view, I think it's a situational thing. Definitely men love sports. I mean, almost all guys love sports. I think you would, if you see him with a Yankee cap on or Cincinnati Reds, you can even mock and say, oh, you like Cincinnati? Just like in a joke. Make sure you say it in a sweet way. Don't say it because he might be a fanboy and we're like, well, what you talking about? Yeah.
Or he might be a gangster like, we crippin' here, cuz. Be careful with that.
And hey, this is real talk. I'm into motorcycles. I have a sport bike.
We lost Brother Roz. Oh no, right at the sports bike. He'll pop back in. So while we're waiting for him to pop back in, let's finish off the video with Miss Melody King. See, Miss AKA Lady is all on my mind. We'll finish off the video with Melody King. I'm gonna bring Brother Roz down. And then when he pops back in here, we'll jump you back in here. So let's finish off this video. And then I got one more video I want to show you guys. I had two, but I'm running out of time. I got to go get my daughter here pretty soon. So let's continue with this last part of the video of with Melanie King and myself.
And some people, and this is the other thing, some people get mad at people and I understand the argument. I'm just playing a little devil's advocate.
And I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
So I would just say this. This is the other thing I'm going to say real quick is I've seen guys get mad at Cardi B or Meg Thee Stallion or women rapping about being hoes or being thoughts. But honestly, did all that type of rap start with women, or did women respond to what men were saying in the rap, in things that they were saying in their lyrics? Well,
they're just trying to get into the game and make money. Again, here's Sister Mel. Melanie King it seems like she's transferring blame over to the men. Okay, so is men's fault because men created dating apps? Is men's fault because the top tier guys are using their status and their leverage to get as much sex as they can from these women, right? And now is men's fault because of rap? You know what I mean? Because they want to get into a game. The game is highly sexualized and all that kind of stuff. I was just like, Mel, I cannot agree with you, Brother Roz. What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't catch. I heard a little bit of it.
Oh well, basically, Mel is saying that and it's men. It's the men's fault for women doing these things, trying to attract certain types of guys, living that thoughts lifestyle, being out there, being highly sexualized, getting their backs blown out, and then getting tossed to the streets which is the term they use, they just get tossed aside, and it's the men's fault for doing it. And and my thing is that I don't agree with that. It's not the man's fault for if I offer to fly you to Tampa and you're a beautiful young woman, you come here, I blow your back out and send you back to wherever you're from. That's not my fault that I didn't give you a commitment, right? It's your job to determine who gets the sexual access, and it is my job to determine who gets the relationship. You have any thoughts on that, bro?
I'm not necessarily sure if it's a gender thing. This supercomputer that we all have in our hands, you can call it media. And if men run the media, I don't know, but I think women are in high positions there too. I know they're not as high as men. I don't know if it's just a gender thing. I think our society has been dictating this and has been evolving to this. I don't think this is, to me, it's not a huge shock that we have gotten to this level that everything that we see, we're in a microwave society.
Yeah, want it now.
Now. And for the real quick, in case my thing drops, because we have thunderstorms here in the Bronx. The young lady, let's say she's into the gym life, like she likes to work out. Ask if you see a man that you like, ask him about the machine he's working on. Like, hey, I want to work on my legs. I want to work on my shoulders. If you see a man who's into motorcycles, hey, if you see him again over and over again, why don't you find out about the sport bikes? It don't have to be something complicated. Instead of just saying, hey, can you give me a ride? Because then if you look, I don't put any woman on my bike because I don't want to kill anybody. But those women who just get on the back of a sport bike, most guys are like, yeah, this is smash material.
Yeah, I will push back just a little bit because since I don't ride in Florida and I don't ride in California, it's way too dangerous. People down here are just insane with their driving skills. But back home, we would ride just like it was a season. So I would just be out. Me and my cousin would be out, man. I had a Hurricane. He had a R1, and we would just be out. And women will flag us down, pull over, and jump on the back of the bike. And I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I wasn't even really trying to smash like that. It was just I was happy to have their company. There were no inhibitions on either side, but it was dangerous. We were kids, you know what I mean? We were young, bro. We you know what I mean? But we had the time of our life. Those summers were the best summers of our lives, man, because we weren't in the street doing that craziness. We're just riding around on the bikes, having a good time with women that we just met. You know what I mean? And it would blossom into a thing where during the riding season, they would just hit us up like, what's up? You know what I mean? You riding? I'm like, yeah, I'm riding. This is before social media, like you said. You had to actually get numbers and stuff like that. But I feel you though, bro. Like riding is amazing.
Right. I mean, I might be being a little bit extreme, but what I'm trying to get at is, hey, concentrate on his interest.
Yeah.
Right there and there. Even if you're in a club, if you see him with a nice watch or a nice shirt or whatever the case would be, talk about those kinds of things. It may seem corny, but it ain't. Because we like attention, man.
And women can't be corny. A guy can be corny, but a woman can say anything. Be coy. And this was all for Miss Globe Girl. Just be coy. Sit back. Compliment his sneakers. Like they say sneakers in New York. We call them gym shoes. Compliment them. You know what I'm saying? Especially if he might be a shoe guy, like gym shoe guy. Maybe he has a collection. That'll start your conversation. But Miss AKA lady was putting in here. I don't think it's any one side's fault. If both sides are playing the game, then charge it to the game, not the team. That's why I rock with you, Miss AKA lady, because you be keeping it 100. And Miss Globe Girl was saying, I think she's saying women are just reacting, not that it's men's fault. No, she's very much saying it's men's fault. We're going to continue the video here real quick so you guys can hear this last little bit. And then I got one more thing I wanted to show you guys before we leave. So check this out.
Itches ain't but holding,
Oh, so take it further. Take it all the way back to the Ghetto Boys. Gotta let a hoe be a hoe, right? I mean, if you really look at it.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is men lead. And so what I'm saying is a lot of men are waking up to a lot of this, but a lot of fault and blame gets put on women, which is well deserved. But if you actually take it in totality, a lot of men need to be held accountable who are these Chad type dudes and ostracized and criticized for their behavior. You know why the system changed? It wasn't because, it wasn't that men could take up all these wives anymore. You know why the system didn't change because
And then she goes into historical context where she was talking about how all of the royalty and the top tier guys had all the women. But that was from Ms. Globe Girl. I want you to hear that part, Ms. Globe Girl, because no, she's absolutely putting it on the men. Not only is it the men's fault, but it's the responsibility of other men to criticize and ostracize the top tier guys. I do not agree with that at all. At all. There's no dude is ever gonna go up to another guy and be like, "Hey man, you should stop smashing all these poor little silly little women out here, bro." Nah. They gonna quote that Ghetto Boys line. Gotta let a hoe be a hoe. If you gonna act like that, ladies, that's what comes with it. If you want to be a top tier woman and you want to be a woman of status and of stature, then you gotta be real picky as to who you deal with, who you're gonna allow to enjoy your Foxy Brown. You gotta be real picky. So yeah, and Raj, you got any thoughts on that?
The last thing is, hey, don't be like what I do for a living. You can't treat none of this like a math formula. It's not algebra 2. It's not trigonometry. There's no set way of how we handle all this. I think, look, and I'm glad that I am who I am. Just be your authentic self. It sounds like a cliche, and be artful with who you're about to meet.
Right.
In a nice way. I'm not saying like throw your box around. I mean, really be artful with men and women alike. And I know it sucks sometimes getting rejected, but sooner or later, look, be your authentic self.
It's going to be a numbers game. And I push back a little bit, and this is the same pushback I give my homies, right? I got a very small circle of cats. Like, my tribe is very small. And my dudes always say exactly what you said, man. Just go out and say hi. Just go do this. It's real simple. Just go do this. Just go do that. And I always have to point out to my dudes, I'm like, you a top tier cat. This is like breathing to you. They can't even fathom. What do you mean there are guys out there who can't meet a woman? Just go out there and say hi. Like, bro, we talking about that dude who's 5'5". You know what I mean? He has no game. He's been in the house his whole life. He never went outside and played. He ain't never got punched in the mouth. We talking about them dudes. And my dudes, it's like, they're like, those guys don't exist. I'm like, yes, they do. There's a lot of them. Ms. Globe Girl was saying, whatever happened to organic conversations, seems like we now need a script. I wouldn't ask anyone what they make because I wouldn't want that asked of me. And here's the thing. The problem is socially, people are inept, right? Me and this brother right here, we had to go outside when we was little. Am I lying?
I think that's the blame with the 5'5" guy now, because I have friends who are short, but we grew up in that era where you're outside with everybody else. This is my man. Yo, don't be making fun of my man. What you talking about? You know?
Right. Put him up.
Build them up. Correct. Now, I look at my students, and I bring down the hammer in a nice way, because when I see that kind of bullying stuff, I can't fix the problem. In the back of my head, I always ask the kids, like, I'll go back now in September. What did you all do? How many of you went outside? And a lot of them just say, I stayed in the house.
Yep. And that's the thing.
Turn 30 or finish college or even go to college.
Brother Roz, I didn't know you were a teacher, man. We got to get on here next week, man. We're going to play out of school. I've been hoping to find a teacher, a brother. You're the perfect guy, man. We got to talk about what's going on.
Like that, and what you did with that General Ben, bro. I was over here doing my chores, like, holy crap. And I like to read about Black history, but this one went under my radar.
Hey, bro, straight up, General Davis. I mean, that's the man who commanded the Tuskegee Airmen, the Red Tails. But no, we definitely we
Black colleges. That was when I said, you see, I always aspired myself. I wish.
Save it.
I'm changing topics. I apologize.
No, but we're gonna get into that, bro. We're definitely gonna get into that. I definitely got to get you on the platform and talking about education. That's my thing. Shout out to brother Jay Swans. My brother's in the house. Jay Swans, Airborne Ranger. We were in the same unit, did our thing. This is my man. When I told you I was talking to one of my guys, and I'm always saying it's not that easy because he's a top tier dude. It's like breathing air. That's what I'm talking about. We had this conversation all the time. Dr. B was saying the majority of men have to learn how to interact with women romantically. Not many guys have that ability naturally. Yes, because they don't go outside. They didn't play freeze tag. We had a game we called Kiss and Catcher. You ever play that? Kiss and Catch.
Of course.
Right, so playing that.
That's how I knew I wanted to be. I was like, I gotta get.
So So let's keep it clean. Let's not say anything else for the superintendent to see you on here and wind up not teaching no more.
For real, right?
So there's one last thing I wanted to show y'all guys, because that the conversation with Mel was really good, but her thing is men are responsible for these women actions, and I don't believe that's the case. I think women are accountable for their own actions and responsible for their own actions. That's where I stand on that. But here my buddy Jay Swan sent me this. Yo, we gotta watch this, y'all. This woman right here, she is without a doubt a beast. So I just need y'all to check this out. Here we go.
I'm a little mad about something. We trying to live up to this hot girl, city girl shit. I'm talking about we walk around, fuck these niggas, pop this pussy, get this money, fuck a bitch. And our fucking leaders are in love. These bitches in whole relationships. These bitches teaching us how to hop on and off dicks, steal money from niggas while they sleep, how to finesse a nigga out of his drugs so we can go sell it. And they over here living happily ever after. We keep standing at the bottom of the steps waiting for Megan and City Girls to drop more songs with more instructions on how to fuck our lives up. These bitches is rich and in love, bitch, and we broke and single. Well, I ain't broke, but I'm for the people, so I'ma act broke today. Megan, you wanna help us? Rap about how you got money back, yo. Young Miami is happily in love with a nigga who said she ugly with her wig off. If that ain't love, I don't know what the fuck is. Nikki, how did you get Kenny? Cardi, how you still going strong with Offset? That's like taking relationship advice from a single bitch. Come on. Bitch, you want us to be hot girls, but y'all having a Sierra summer. Shit. I'm a little mad.
Yo, that shit right there. When I say that's fire, that's fire. That is absolute fire. Women need to see that. I think every woman, I don't care what color she is, how old she is, her background, need to watch that. That's what I'm talking about right there. Right? You got any comments on that, bro?
Man, look, that's never going to change, though, man. I feel for the sister, man, and just like I feel for some of the young ladies who are in here, who are in Mel's show in the background, even the gentlemen, man, unfortunately, if you really are into history, obviously because of the supercomputer is more in our face, I don't think times have been, it's just been exponentially amplified more. All the stuff that's happening now.
Yeah, and like you said, it's instant is right now, man.
I'm sure, maybe not so much. It was probably more humble women, but and he came from a different country. But even here in America, we see old movies and stuff like that. Man, married couples didn't even sleep in the same bed.
Yeah. But that's how they wanted you to think. But you're right, bro. So, man, I'm glad you jumped on, man. We got to wrap this up, man. I give you the last word, and then I'm gonna cut out, man. But I give you the last word. But hey, for real, bro, I'm gonna hit you up. We have to do the teaching episode. Hey. I got to get you on here and talk about that word. But go ahead and I'm gonna give you the last word.
August 30th. So if you do it beforehand, it'll be much easier. August
30th. Absolutely. Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
So tell the people who you are one last time, man. If you want to, tell them where to find you.
Well, I'm also, the only thing I have is the Instagram, but it's more for a side business. It's under Ross Magneto, RASMAGNETO. I'm into landscape gardening design and things like that for local people. You won't see pictures of me on there. So this is my picture right now. And
So that's what's up. Thank you so much for popping on, bro. I'm gonna be hollering at you. You said before the 30th, we definitely gonna get that done. I'm gonna hit you up later on today, man. So peace. Ayo, be easy, brother.
Same to you. Peace.
And Roz was in there making it happen, yo. You know what I mean? Shout out to the brother, man. I gotta give him a hand for coming out here, man, and helping the brother do his thing. Miss Globe Girl, not every woman lives that way, though. You're absolutely right. Not every woman lives that way, though. But man, when I was coming up back in the day, right, in Cincinnati, the average woman she had a job. She was doing good. You know what I mean? She came from a good family. She would dress properly, like, very conservatively. I mean, she didn't have everything hanging out, nothing like that. You know what I mean? If she had a nice body, she would wear a fitting dress, but it wasn't like you couldn't see everything. You feel me? You know what I mean? That's how, and then the outlier were those girls who were, out there, man. They was raw with it, smashing anybody, had a lot of male masculine energy. You know what I mean? It was like the opposite of like the women who were in their feminine and all that. So, the outliers were those women. They were wild. You know what I'm saying? You know, fast. We called them fast. Now, and now it seems that balance is shifting. There are more women, it seems to me, that are, you know, embracing that thought culture. They want to be fast. They out there. They got their breasts out with just pasties on. They got on cut off shorts that are so short that you can see everything. You can see the Foxy Brown. They're not even wearing any G-string or nothing like that. Women are going to the clubs with see-through clothes on and they ain't got nothing on underneath. That seems to be the shift. And I hope I'm wrong, but if that's the shift, we got a problem. We got a serious problem. You know what I mean? And that's why I wanted to show that video right there at the end. I wanted to show that video because that woman, whoever she is, Jess, Miss AKA lady was saying, Jess, that's who these young girls should be following. That's who these older women should be listening to. Cause she breaking it down, giving it the real. They should be listening to Melanie King. They should be listening to Suzette Speaks. Shout out to Suzette Speaks. I think she's coming back from her vacation. She might be back already. So shout out to her. They should be listening to these women and taking their example. Don't show me everything, lady. Damn, leave something to the imagination. Shit. Coming out there, I can see it all. So Jay Swans, I'm sorry, Miss AKA lady. She was to Miss Globe Girl. She was like, so true. The worst part is regular women that aren't on that time don't get that type of shine. I would argue that they do. They do get that type of shine. They find that guy they looking for. They did talk to the manager at Target. They are, you know, willing to go out with the plumber who has his own business. And they are shining. They're shining bright in the home, doing their thing, running their home. They got their man, right? I would argue they are out there. They're just not putting it all over the internet, right? Because they don't need to. They got the guy and they want to keep the guy. They come off of Instagram. They're not advertising themselves anymore. They're not looking to level up from that guy. That would be my only pushback to that. Jay Swans, there are good women out there. If you're a good, honest man, you'll find them. But it won't be easy. Just speak and stop being weird. Yeah, we have a weirdo epidemic out there. That is 100% true. And y'all know I'm over there in the red pill spaces, and that's all I'm hollering these days, man. Quit being weird. Every time they be saying these getting big, we the prize. Fuck these hoes. We the prize. Damn these bitches. Like, who's you, nigga? You over here talking all this big shit, man. You sound like one of them fat chicks talking about I'm a queen. What have you done? Send me they force them to put their pictures up there so you see these fat ass little dudes in here talking about we the prize, we this, we that. Hey, nigga, where you from? You know what I'm saying? I'm from the suburbs. Yeah. The rough streets of the suburbs, man. Sit your ass down. Keep doing the work. Because those are the guys talking the most shit. And those are the guys that go out there and they get themselves a dime because they done took on a couple of these little gems that these RP guys, the man spirit guys, they get them a dime. And what do? They drop that red pill. They drop that red pill like a bad habit, man. They run over here and they get this woman and they do all this stuff. Right. And they wind up getting the wrong woman. And she wound up taking everything and leaving him. And then they come back over there talking all this craziness, man. And guess what? I'm waiting on them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm waiting on them. Come on over here. Sit your dumb ass over here. So, yeah, trust me, y'all. I'm letting them have it. Miss Globe Girl, some of us are decent human beings and handle our business, but all men talk about are these thought trollops. They are shocking to me too. Yo, that's real talk. That's real talk. They get to shine. You know what I mean? But and the problem is, I think these young women and these some other women are like, well, these girls seem to be getting a success. Look at all the DMs. Look at all the pictures. Look at all the meals. Look at all of this. Look at all of that. What they don't realize is they just getting smashed. I mean, I see it up close and personal, man, and it's ugly. I'm like, damn. You know what I mean? People are like, well, it's just Miami. No, it's Dallas too. You know what I mean? It's not as many, but they still out there. It's LA, it's San Diego, Vegas, New York, Cincinnati, Denver. It's all over the place. Oklahoma City. It's all over the place, y'all. And if we're not holding people accountable for their decisions, that's only going to increase. It's only going to increase. You know what I mean? So, Ms. Globe Girl, I don't believe the majority of women today are thoughts. I hope they're not. Miss AKA lady, she's laughing. Don't tell women to listen to Jess. You got to see her on other content. Oh, okay. Let me check her out then. Do me a favor. Shoot me her link on either text it to me or shoot me on my Instagram so I can check out her stuff. Aside what's going on at Miss Globe Girl, training is another factor, but being at the right place at the right time to meet a good man slant woman. Yeah, you know, fate has a lot to do with it. Jay Swans, if you're a king, you'll find your queen. It just takes work. Brother, the energy you put out is what you'll get back. Can't knock that. Can't knock that. You know what I mean? And y'all know I don't throw around them terms king and queen too much. You know what I'm saying? Like Queen Naya, his wife, Queen. That's Queen Naya for real. You know what I mean? So you don't hear me drop that term too often. But I will drop it for my little sis, Queen Naya. But yo, that's the show, y'all. It is 4:10. I gotta go get my baby. She's getting out of school pretty quick. And like I said, I'm retired and I get to my whole life revolves around my daughter. I'm so happy I get to pick her up from school. I'm going to take her to get her favorite tacos because this is her first day of school as a little treat for her doing her thing. So, yo, thanks for coming through, showing the support for real, brother side. I appreciate that. Jay Swans, Miss AKA Lady Globe, Miss Globe Girl in the house. Who else do we have here? We had Wonderful 34. Thanks for coming through, showing the support. Tia Kiki jumped in. Dr. B _84. Thank you so much, brother, for coming in here. Lincoln Banks, Dallas, Cornerstone in the house. Appreciate the support. Miss Sandy B Law even popped in. Yo, thank you so much for coming in, Miss Sandy B. I appreciate it. Like I said, Tia Kiki was here for a hot second. Also, Brother Raz was in the house tonight. Brother Raz making it happen. You're going to be seeing much more of him on the platform. I didn't know the brother was a teacher, a black man, a teacher, athlete in New York. We definitely got to talk about the school system right here. Brother O, all the way from South Africa in the house. Thank you so much for coming through. I really appreciate it. I'll be back probably tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to drop anything tonight. I do have a couple shows in the breach ready to go. Who knows? I might, but normally when Fresh and Fit is on, I don't tend to jump on. And you might see me on Melanie King's show. Maybe I'll be watching. We'll see what they're talking about over there. Thank y'all so much for y'all support. I really appreciate y'all, man. I really do. This is fun. And this ain't easy. You know what I mean? Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it, Miss Sandy B Law. Can't wait to collab with you as well, love. I'm gonna be trying to holler at you because you have so much knowledge on the law side when we're talking about living trust and wills and all that kind of stuff that black folks don't plan for. You know what I mean? So I definitely want to get you on the show. So all right, I'm out. I'm DL Saint. This is DL Saint. I Really Want to Know podcast. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.